Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Stuart's Classic Bikes and Cars. Well, this afternoon, I'm I'm trying to progress this TR7. I've had it 3 years and it's hardly moved, so we're having a concerted effort to try and get it ready for the road next year sometime. So the last episode we were working on, let me move some of this rubbish around here. If I stand round there it might be better, you can see me more, right? Right, the last episode, well, before that, all this under here, all that's new metal. I did that 2 months ago. So that's all new. I did this yesterday. It's not 100%, but it's not too bad. It's more than tacked. I've plug welded it along this seam here. You can see my hand. This morning I've ground the tack welds back. When I'm looking at my tack welds I've done, when I've tack welded it, I've missed where I'm supposed to be tacking. Anyhow, not to worry, I've got most of it. The big problem I've got is that I can't get enough light on the place I'm welding or looking at. So, I don't know whether you can see it from there. Let me look and see if you can see it in the camera. No. Anyhow, let me show you. That there, stuck on the underside of the lid, boot lid, is a magnetic light, rechargeable light that I've got from Temu. Not the best marketplace in the world, but at least that's cheap equipment, but it works for a short time, if nothing else. Anyhow, how much of that? It was 300 and something peso, Philippine money, about 5 UK pound. So if it lasts a few months, it'll be well worth it. Well, as you can see, it's better than what I was using before, because it's lit up the area I want to look at, and the camera can more or less see it. So what am I doing today? Well, today, I thought I'd lost the panel I'm supposed to be fitting. The next panel to go in is this one that I made earlier, but it doesn't quite fit. But before I do that, underneath the floor there's a cross member here, a chassis leg here. I'm just going to mark this on this plate, and I'll tell you why. Because in the near future, put a line there, and where's that? Let me write on the chassis. And why have I done that, you may ask? Well, when I eventually get this finished, if I can get it finished, this will be covered up. And without me having to go underneath all the time to see where stuff is, I know that that's where the chassis leg is. Because here, somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where, but somewhere here, the battery's going to fit. I'm going to take the battery, well there's no battery fitted actually. The battery that should be in the front is going to sit here. So I don't want to drill through the chassis leg when I clamp it down. So I want to drill here, or here, or here. Probably here and here. Because the battery's going to be in here, and I'm going to have a battery isolator mounted here somewhere on a bracket. why am I putting it in the boot? Well, I'm putting it in the boot because when I've got twin carbs fitted on this 18RG Toyota engine I'm going to put in, the carburetors and the trumpets, velocity stacks, whatever you want to call them, are going to be right where the battery fits now in this car. So I'm going to put it in the boot. Now, the TR8s and all the factory cars, the rally cars, had the battery in the boot, and it's a better place for it. So I'm going to place it here. So I've just marked on that chassis, and it's a little thing well worth doing while you're looking at something. So you know when you put the battery, you've not drilled a hole and you've gone into the chassis leg and it's of no use to you. Right, what am I doing next? Right, let's see, folks. Do you know, I put stuff, as I'm getting older, I put stuff down, I've no idea what I've done with it. Right, this part here, I've already formed it and everything. It's got the right lip on. The problem is here somewhere, it just doesn't quite fit. Now, what we need to do is to mark it and see where I'm going to alter it. Let's have a little look at what we're doing here. Well, I want this raised piece here to line up with this piece. So it wants to go over a little bit. Let me get a screwdriver, 2 seconds, people. This scraper might be a better idea, but it's only thin bladed. It might suffice to say, make it a little bit easier. Because I want this to go over more, but not much more. I'm only talking about 1 millimetre or 2. So, see, if that top bit there fits more or less, although it wants to go down, it's raised, it's sat on top of that bit. So what we need to do, Stewie, I think, how much I'm going to cut off there. Too many things in my hands at once. And it wants to come over here at the bottom. But it can't come over much. And they have to put what's underneath that little bit. So let's put that in again. Let's mark it so I know where it sits when I take it out. So the inside of this line is where it is. So I can either trim some off this piece and cut that down there, or I can take some off the boot floor. I'll probably take some off this, but let me just see where it fits. And that's where that hole is. You need to put another little piece in here. It's got no hole. So we need to square this up a little bit here, so it's a nicer shape. And then we need to make a step shaped part, and I'll just weld it in there, that'll be okay. Right, so let's have a little look at how we're going there. Because I've got a big gap here, look. You see if I can get my pen inside it. But the rest of it's not too bad. Because I can bend the lips out a little bit here to close this gap up, and I can fill that with weld if need be, but I don't really want to do that. So let's have a little look and see where we are. Right. So that's there. Let's put that back in again, because I've just marked where that is, where that line is there. And that there is more or less, that's not a straight line, but if I trim that back, we'll do a dip at a time. I won't cut that much off. Let me cut that bit off there. Then I can see. I don't want to make it too short. Then I've got to make a new part. So let me cut it down there, and that there comes out to there. But if I cut it a little bit up there, it'll give me a little bit of elbow room. Right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut that section out, and then I'll be able to see how close this is to this, because I want to end up with really just a millimetre the thick of the tungsten gap, so I can leave it, so it leaves the gap, and when I weld it I can fill the gap with weld. So I don't want it touching bang on, but I could do it with a little gap, a millimetre or so. So I can't do that across because that there is level. So I'm going to have to put a piece in there, a little section. That's no big deal. Right, so let me go to the bench. And I'll just chop that piece out there, and then we'll come back and you can see what I'm trying to do. It's self-explanatory really when I show you. I'm just going to leave you. I can still talk to you, but you won't see me. I may be able to do it here on this little bench I've got. Let me get a cutting disc. Right, I'm back. All I'm going to do, right, first job, safety first, unplug the grinder. Here we are, here I am. I've unplugged the grinder so we can't have a mishap. So we'll take this grinding disc out and put a cutting disc in. Then I'll just show you what I'm trying to do. Cutting disc. I tried to put, see these wheel spanners, all this sort of thing. Once I've used it, I put it back in the toolbox. Because if I just put it down somewhere like that, the next time I'm looking for it, I have no idea what I've done with it. So, after I've used it, it's going to go back in the toolbox. And then I'll know, next time I want to use it, it's exactly where I know where it is. Sounds a little bit silly, but from past experience, I just know that if I don't keep doing it like that and putting stuff back where I find it, I will have no idea. Right. Safety equipment on first job. Avoid welding fumes and grinding fumes. dust mask. Very important to wear all the safety equipment, especially if you have an illness like I have. There we go. Glasses. Face shield. Adjust the fit. Right, 2 minutes, I'll just cut this little piece out. Might be better if I had the grinder plugged in. Hang on a minute. Grinder plugged in first, Joe. Right, that's the little piece cut off. I can show you what I'm doing now. Right, this is the piece we've just taken out of here. Now all I've done, I've removed that piece that was there. So I've removed that piece from there, look. Yeah? As you can see, we're still solid underneath, which is what I wanted to do. The big difference now is that there's only a little bit left, so I can take a little bit of time away until I can see the gap. I don't want to cut it and then go, oh dear me, it's too big. And it's difficult to measure it accurately. So it's a lot better to measure once. No, let me get this right. Measure twice, cut once. Any idiot can cut too much metal out. So that's what I'm doing, folks. I'm just doing it slowly, slowly, so I get that piece to fit. Once that fits in there, I shall tack it in and see where we are. So that's where we are, folks. I'm fitting. I'll be another hour, maybe. I'll be another 10-15 minutes fitting this properly, because I've got to grind some up here, cut a bit more off here so I can get a gap, a bit up there, and a little bit up here, so it ties with that. And then I can weld this to that, this to that, this to that, that to that, that to that, and I can go underneath. There's a flange under this on these two. I can clamp it together and weld along the flange at the bottom. So that's where we have it, gentlemen. I'm doing my best to try and make this look like a factory finish. Like I said before, when I get it all nicely done in the bottom, everything welded in, we'll grind it all up nicely, 2-pack epoxy undercoat, racing green top coat, it's right, you'll be able to eat your dinner off it. Keep watching, people, keep interested. There's only about 5 or 6 more TR7s in the Philippines, and I'm hoping mine will be the best one when I get it finished. Well, thanks for watching, keep watching, people, bye bye.